Sometime tonight, we're told the Senate will vote on this. It's not a done deal. Even after they vote yes, they have to reconcile what we're told are substantial differences between the House package and the Senate package. We don't know the Senate package because we're told that it doesn't look a lot like the committee from which it left. The House Republican Budget Committee Chairman from Tennessee, Diane Black, back with us. Congressman, thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's good to be with you.
So I'm told that it's going to look a lot different, certainly not only from what you folks cooked up, but what even the Senate committee cooked up, and that there could be moving targets on tax rates and all. If it means that they are going to come with a higher corporate rate than 20%, we don't know that for sure. Is that a non-starter to you, Congressman?
Well, it's certainly not what we have intended throughout the process of our overall goals were to get the economy moving. And if you don't do that immediate 20% for the corporations, then you're not going to get the economy moving. So it certainly doesn't do what it was that we intended to do. And so I think that's what's going to be a good thing about the conference committee is we're going to throw all of that around and we'll have an opportunity to be able to come out with the best of both of the plans.
Chairman, as well, one of the things we're hearing is that the Senate is keeping all of those rates. I think there are 6 or 7 of them, and so you're going to have a lot of rates. They're going to have a lower rate for the upper income. You keep it the same. That is the House. This isn't going to be easy to reconcile, it sounds to me. What do you think?
Well, I think that once we get into committee, again, setting out the targets and the principles that we have from the very beginning, and that was to make something simpler. If you keep all those brackets, you're certainly not making something simpler. So we'll have to decide what it is that really helps those that we're targeting, and that's those in the middle income. So these are all conversations we'll have to have. It's actually not as big a difference as at least what came out of committee. I'm not sure, I haven't read the plan that now they have come through the Senate.
Right.
But it really there aren't that many big differences. And what differences are there are ones that we're going to have a conversation. Look, it may not even be that we take one or the other. It may be a combination of putting them together to make sure that, again, we meet the goals that we set out for a fairer, flatter, simpler, looking at the middle income people to have the most relief.
You know, Congressman, we're hearing word that Democrat John Conyers is going to be talking to the press at 2 p.m., about an hour and a half from now. You think he should leave?
I do think he should leave. I think that there is enough evidence that there was sexual harassment, and I think there's no place in Congress, there's no place in the public or the private sector for sexual harassment, and I think he needs to do the honorable thing now, and I think he needs to leave.
All right. Would that apply to Roy Moore if he wins the Senate seat in Alabama? Some of the charges against him, they'll go back a number of decades, to be sure, but many in the Senate have said he would not be welcome, even if he wins that seat.
Well, I think, again, that takes a conviction. It takes something to show that these allegations are true. I haven't looked into his case. I don't know at this point whether that's so or not, but I think if these are true allegations, then he should do the same thing. We cannot have this kind of thing going on here in Congress, whether it's in the House, the Senate, whether it's with employees or whether it's with the elected officials. This is a place where we should have safety for all of the employees and all of those who are doing their work here. And so I believe that if someone is in that situation where they have sexually harassed them, they need to leave here, and they need to be held accountable, by the way. And that's what our bill does, is it puts some accountability out there.
Now, of course, millions have been issued in payments to those who were harassed and worse. No one seems to know how and why and how many that happened to, but it happened. As a prominent congresswoman in your own right and a woman in what has been largely a man's club, how do you feel about all that?
Well, I know that our House Administration Committee is doing the work. We had a conference today and talked about this to make sure that we have the appropriate information. But moving forward, in the bill that I am a co-sponsor of, we do have transparency there. And I think that's very important. It's important for the victim to know that we're not going to hide the things that they have done, these horrible activities that have been done to someone. There's going to be transparency. And by the way, we're going to say no public funds can be used for any settlement cases on sexual harassment.
Did you know public funds had been used to settle some of
I did
these?
not.
Yeah.
I did not. I was totally unaware of this. And when I found it out, I was so disturbed that this might be happening. And this is the reason why I felt very strongly that I needed to sign on this bill to say this cannot happen any longer, and that we are going to publicly expose people who are perpetrating these horrible actions on whether it's a woman or whether it's a man. I don't care. It's sexual harassment either way, and that we need to hold them accountable. We need to be held to a higher standard. We're public servants, and we need to be held to that higher standard. And if this is the case and someone has perpetrated that sexual harassment on someone, they need to leave and they need to be held accountable, and it needs to be transparent.
Congressman, thank you very, very much. Diane Black, House Budget Committee Chairman. Very good seeing you.